which I do, but for completely different reasons. Now, this is what I'm gonna do. All that shit you just read that was so weirdly specific in certain instances and not at all specific in instances where it probably damn well should have been, this is what I'm gonna write. You are invisible. No. You or a subject you touch. It's gonna have a duration on here. How do I do durations? What's my formula for durations? If I don't say, it's just until the end of an encounter or 2 minutes. So I don't have to say that. What I do have to say is what the fuck invisible means.
Should you just make it, like we mentioned this before, should it just be a status effect?
Yes. I believe it has to be. It has to be a status effect because Eyebite already works that way. Memory Hole already works that way. A couple of other powers that already do it. It has to be. That's gotta work. The default way to be invisible has been the only way in the Lampedition you can't become invisible. I don't know. Now it's too high a level spell, too.
Ezra says you are invisible, as light cannot strike your retina.
You are also blinded. Yeah, exactly. This is a well-known problem to science fiction nerds.
You are also blinded. And that's exactly when things start to try and load.
Yeah. Okay, so, you or the subject you touch is invisible. Now, this is the power of Lampe's cockamamie way of doing shit. I know that people prefer to have it encapsulated in the spell, but that's because they suck and are bad. Which is radically unfair. But what it means is that a player should only really be expected to know how their character works. And I have rules outside of specifically what they're trying to find, which is why 5th edition is written the way it is. But the invisibility spell that you just read is filled with garbage that is only there because some asshole thinks he's clever and a designer had to roll his eyes and add another sentence, right? Mine is just the sentence, you or a subject you touch is invisible. Because we're going to say what invisible means, we already know what a touch effect is, and we already have it built in how long these spells are supposed to last.
I will mention you may want to add the second sentence, invisible is a status effect because that's not normal. But basically so they know where to look for it in the book.
Yeah, see... in fact, we'll do the C page number. C, the invisibility condition page number. Where's the number 7? Okay. Most remedial thing in the universe. I already know. Okay, so now here's the other issue. You read the whole thing, but I don't remember. In fact, you read both of them to me. Although you interrupted yourself, and I'm not sure where the quotes end and your gibberish begins. So, in previous editions, in the way that I would have done it, without somebody bringing it up, if somebody was invisible and they interacted with practically anything, with a couple of exceptions, it would end the spell. And then, with greater invisibility, I would have to look it up to remember whether or not they could, for example, remain invisible if they attacked.
As far as I can tell, that is not the case, because invisibility specifically says the spell ends for a target for a target that attacks or casts a spell, and then that sentence is gone for greater invisibility. And that appears to be the other than duration and spell level.
Well, then I just won't say anything. The spell writes itself. It's one sentence.
You're invisible now.
My God, this is easy. I am trying to make this hard, and it's not working. The spell just works.
Now, the thing is, if we make invisible a status effect, under blinded, should we put you perceive all characters in the area as invisible?
No! Rules are stupid. Oh my god. Law sucks. Law sucks. I don't know if I should feel bad for all the lawyers in the world or have them shot. Like, what the actual fuck, though? That's brilliant.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, you know, you can't see them, so they're invisible. So you're blinded.
Oh, no. That just seems like there. Now you're making it sound like there just should be a. You can't see them. Instead of all this other shit.
To be fair, invisible might just mean you can't see them. That makes sense to me. That's literally what the word invisible means.
Just make an unseen rule. I don't know, man. Isn't this a game? It's supposed to... Imagination.
Yeah.
Just something about it seems like it's going too far. All right, let's try it out and see. So we will go to where is that even gonna go? What?
Is unseen a status effect?
No.
Okay.
Inspiration spells. General rules. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Okay.
You should put it near concealment. Because it seems like it's related to concealment. But you're not hiding behind something.
Grappling, initiative, inspiration, mark, movement, no milestone, redundancy, save, sizes, skills, spells, preparation, tiers, unseen.
So technically you could debate that unseen and partial concealment, when you combine the two, that's how you get total concealment.
Okay, actually, I've decided that what unseen is actually going to be is more esoteric than that. Instead of unseen being a rule that is written, I'm going to go over all of the things that are implied by existing rules in one place. Okay, so here's what we're going to say. When a character finds themselves? No. When a character has no visual, empirical,
image.
I'm going to use perception without capitalizing it, which is a weird choice because it calls to mind the skill, but it is not the skill, otherwise it would be capitalized. So it ties it to the way people are going to think about the skills without specifically being one. See what I mean by esoteric too? This whole approach is very gray area, and I think it's actually, I know this sounds weird, it's going to help because it's going to keep people from thinking of it in terms of a rule, which will stop them trying to make the other things into rules according to this. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Good, because I thought what just came out of my mouth was so much horseshit. Or at least was totally unrecognizable as logic. When a character has no visual empirical perception, they are
See, the main problem with the sentence is, like, someone not having the perception implies that they're the ones not seeing the thing.
Yeah, has no visual empirical perception. They're phenomenologically limited. What do I want to say there?
I will be right back.
You'll be what?
Right back.
Okay. Let's see. When a character has no visual empirical perception of something, we may think of that something as unseen. This is when they have no line of sight, when it is too dark for them to see something, when something is invisible, and something has concealment. Maybe I'll just throw an etc. on there. Etc. This case. Spells. Whoops. You cannot cast spells. No, because that's not true. In this case, they cannot target the something specifically. With spells. Because you can still target the area that they're in for fireball, for example. You don't have to see them. You just have to blow up the building they're standing in. There's no rule against that. And I don't want to word this as though there is, especially since this almost isn't a rule. It's a guideline. It is a mode of philosophy. Actually needs to reference the sentence there. This glaze over. Yes. When a character has no physical empirical perception of something, we may think of the something as unseen. The something is going to be the unseen. We cannot target the unseen specifically with spells. They grant combat to the unseen. They may not know the unseen is even there at all. Is there anything else we have to say about the unseen? It's invisible, it's got total concealment, there's no line of sight, grant combat advantage, might not know it's there.
Well, unless they perceive it with some other sense.
Yes.
Scent, or...
I don't know if we need an unless. They may not know that it's there. I think that's good enough. Because they may know that it's there if they may not know that it's not. You see what I mean?
Someone can tell them there's an invisible thing right there, and they're like, okay, there's an invisible thing right there.
I mean, depending on where you are, there are definitely settings where that happens. By the way, there's somebody invisible in this room. Ugh, must be Wednesday.
Can you imagine my Hell Gnome directing people to, hey, cast a fireball right there?
Yeah. I was talking about that earlier. So that's why this bit had to be very carefully worded right here. Pointing at that you can see, surely. Because I'm stupid. I require more beverage. I have this vodka infused tea. I was doing gin infused tea, and apparently I second guessed myself and decided to do vodka. And it's supposed to be gin infused Earl Grey, but I was out, so I used black tea. It's not. I mean, it's good. It's just black tea. Even the best black tea brings very little to the table because that's sort of its job. And vodka brings very little to the table because that is sort of its job. So it's just kind of poison. Well, I just poisoned my tea, is all. That's all that happened there. I kind of was hoping for better.
How very dwarven of you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you converse, particularly with somebody who might still be in chat, and I will procure my beverage and hopefully not break my chair.
Yeah. Be seen Monty Python skit is running through my brain right now because it's hilarious, very violent but hilarious. That's good brandy. Yes, see. You may or may not be aware of the target. You may be able to perceive the target through other means, such as sound, smell, tremor sense, etc. However, we're pretty sure Lampay is, or at least I'm pretty sure Lampay is not into allowing tremor sense. Which is a pity. I love tremor sense. As I mentioned earlier, you may not have been here. I played a masochistic scout. Which, by the way, masochism trait from Book of Vile Darkness back in 3.5, really, really terrible. Don't bother. Like, holy shit. I actually got it removed via brain spells. Because, holy shit. Basically, at the beginning of each day, you're missing 1d3 times 10% of your HP. Because masochism. And, that's really rough. Super rough. Sadism was pretty good, though. Really one of those two in the evil campaign. She was fun. She was a frenzied berserker. She got an emo bard as her follower. It was pretty fun. And we worked for a guy, and at the very end, it turned out he was going to destroy the world. Yeah. Nipple clamps of exquisite pain. The thing I remember most from the Book of Vile Darkness, other than, the sadism and masochism traits, is there was a suit of armor that had chains that you put around people's necks. And the more people you had, the higher your AC was. So you'd have these slaves basically forced to defend you. And they had different ACs for both adults and children. So, yeah, you could tie a bunch of children to you. Like, fucking weirdo.
Yes. The last of the energy potion.
Energy potion?
Oh my god. Oh, it's so close to the edge.
He's doing alchemy, you guys.
Oh, the foam! Yeah, it is exactly the right amount. Look at that.
I can't see it, Lampay.
Down to the milliliter.
Never hear it. Fatal. I've heard of a lot of fatal
I
things.
bumped the table. It very nearly caused disaster.
Like video game or whatever?
What?
He's asking if we've ever heard of Fatal.
Fable?
Fatal.
Fatal. Oh.
F-A-T-A-L, all caps.
Rings a bell.
I've heard of a lot of Fatal things.
Probably have to look it up. I think it might be a
Fatal.
hack and slash thing. Might even use dashes.
Yay. Tabletop game. TV tropes. Fatal card game. Fatal 1D4 Chan.
Surely he means the 2002 album by Hassan Fatal.
Ah, the one with the periods in it. Okay. RPG Geek.
Oh, I was using dashes. Silly me. Okay. My lens. I cannot see.
The largest game book ever printed. Has over 150 occupation, 200 skills, and 500 spells. See, I'm a 3-5er, and that sounds like a bit much.
Yeah. Let me tell you how the balance of this game is just perfect then. Because that game exists to compare it to. I think Rifts was like that. They just kept adding more and more. Oh, maybe this was Earl Grey. I didn't mix them, surely.
Seriously generates stats such as maximum anal circumference.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember the anal circumference RPG.
Look, dude, I just pick how big my titties are by rolling a d6. That's just, you know. Assuming, of course, the character is the sort that would have titties.
Okay, so we have unseen written, and as near as I can tell, it has said everything that needs to be said. Why aren't these in alphabetical order? God damn it, Lampe!
Look, dude, if you want to do that, just play Corruption of Champions. They tried that shit.
Well, I don't know if there's a TTRPG Corruption Champions.
Well, no, it's not a TTRPG, but...
I find that things like that don't tend to work very well because once something... I mean, you can only take that so far before it's actually sex, in which case you're not playing the game anymore.
Well, I mean, you can play a sexy game, but, like... Then the problem comes down to, is everyone down for being in the orgy? Because otherwise you have, like, three players sitting there waiting for the sex scene to be over.
No, they'll just leave. That's not how gamers work. Gamers are very all or none lot, I've come to find. GHI F. Ugh. Him? I'll deal with him later.
He's hiding what he's typing from us so we can't see him misspell things.
No, I'm changing the fucking order because it's not alphabetical. For some fucking reason. Which I swear to God I fixed like 2 years ago. Like I came in here and I moved everything into the subcategories. So frightened and panicked is under shaken, for example, and exhausted and innervated under fatigued. But I didn't change the order that they were in for spelling, apparently, when I did that. Why? Why would I have done one and not both? You know what I'll bet I did? I'll bet I literally said out loud at the time that I did it, this'll piss me off later. And it did! I'm pissed! Why did I not do it then? Anyway, I'm done with that. And now I've got to add invisible. Enemies do not see you. They grant combat advantage. Might not go there. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be said about that?
About that?
Hold on, let me put it where people can see it. No! In the middle of the spell? Really? Thank you. Wait, the display is off now. When did that happen?
I just saw a lot of things happen all at once.
The display is like totally wrong now. It's almost as though
you moved the thing, and I noticed that enemies was spelled wrong.
yeah, enemies is definitely spelled wrong. Invisible. You cannot be seen. That's bad. No, let's figure out why this display is fucked up. Whatever, it's working. That's good enough for me. Cannot be seen. That is rules as written what it means now. And it, enemies that cannot see you. Grand combat match. I ran out of my allergy medicine and now I'm miserable.
Yeah.
It's only gonna get worse too because I keep forgetting to buy more.
Would you like me to grab you some at some point?
What?
Would you like me to grab you some at some point?
Probably not.
Okay.
Delivery. It's like when you DoorDash during a stream, except it's allergy pills.
Yeah.
CVS doesn't deliver, do they?
Thank you for your time.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.